Since the lockdown began, I've been working and spending a lot of time at my computer desk. The problem is that the desk is way too tiny for my needs, and I don't want to buy a new one because I'm cheap AF. My plan is to customize this desk to my unique needs and to fit into the space I'm using, which is in the corner of the living room, all without creating too much change in appearance so that my wife won't get upset at me. Hi, I'm Mark the designer, and I'll show you how I made a really cool tabletop for my desk along with some really awesome features. First, I went to Home Depot and purchased this Russian birch panel slab of wood for around $20. I made sure it fits my space perfectly, and then I set out to round the exposed corner. If one of my kids catch this corner with their noggin, my wife's gonna tell me it was my fault. I'm using a can of Rio tuna as my template. It's delicious but somewhat salty. Next, I took a saw to my tuna line, then sanded it really well to round out and taper the edges. I took care to round out the edge that my forearms will be pressing against when I work. To match my existing little table, I'm staining my tabletop with ebony wood stain. I'm trying out these sponges that are specially made for applying stain. You can see they're not too bad. I'm coating it pretty thick and then wiping off the excess. After a couple of days of drying, I moved on to the next step. I've decided I want to have a built-in phone holder and charger station. I made sure to align it exactly where it should be, and then I marked it off. I scored, drilled holes, skill sawed, and then sanded the phone slot. While I waited for the stain to dry in the phone hole, I noticed that the iMac stand was totally ruining this extra space I was gaining. So I set about hiding it under the table with an ingenious plan. I measured and marked the area under the table where the stand should be. Then I sawed along my guidelines, about ½ an inch under the board, and then I chiseled the excess wood out, being careful not to go too aggressive and ruin the top side of my board. Once all this excess wood was removed, I used my electric sander to smooth out all the rough, round, exposed MDF pressboard stuff. I really took my time doing this, and I tapered the board thinner at the edge to allow the iMac stand to be tucked under the table as much as possible. With this out of the way, it was time to protect the table with some Varathane clear finish. I'm applying the first coat here as evenly and quickly as possible. When it's all said and done, I coated it 4 times over the span of 2 weeks. By the way, this stuff smelled like ass. Now you'll see how the tabletop will function with the iMac stand tucked underneath. Everything is fitting together so well. I can't tell you how happy this is making me. The tabletop is coming together nicely. To finish the phone slot, I'm using a power receptacle cover, and I'll mount it under the table. Here are some wire holders I purchased from Amazon. I'll have links to all the stuff I used in the description. Next, I'm going to make a slot in the front of the desk to fit my tablet into when I'm not using it. I've measured the width, drew guides, and I'll be drilling holes and skill sawing just like I did with the phone slot. It's looking good so far. Next, I'm making shelves to hold the tablet in place. And for the final test, fits like an Oreo in the mouth. Perfect. I'm satisfied with my tabletop as it is, so I'm securing it to the existing table. Now I want to address the problem of having my books and random junk left on my tabletop. So I'm building a shelf for under the table. I've measured and cut a piece of thinner board and added a finger slot to make my life easier. After sanding the board well, I cut 2 pieces of steel strapping and painted them white. Now I have a perfectly sized shelf that's hidden under my table to hold my books. Perfect. I love it. Good job. This next task took a lot of work for something so small, but it had to be done. Can you guess what this is for? Hang on tight because I'll show you what it is at the end. After some consideration, I decided I needed a place to store my external hard drives and hang my headphones when not in use. I decided on building a small shelf out of some of that extra thin board I had. I cut the boards to fit the area perfectly and painted them white. I Amazoned a collapsible headphone hook and then custom painted it black to match the desk. The plan was to hang it on the side of the fireplace that's beside the desk, but when my wife saw this, she blew a gasket. She said it interferes with the aesthetic of the living room too much, so I had to cancel this plan. Too bad. Just like Icarus, I flew too close to the sun. So to finish off my awesome custom desktop, I purchased this huge, beautiful mouse pad. And this is how my phone slot works. Now I could just take a glance at it when I get an alert. You guys remember this little piece of wood that I spent so much time on? Did you figure out what it's for yet? I'm going to show you. You know up here you have this camera? Well, now you see me, now you don't. No embarrassing moments on Zoom for me. Aw man, I love my desk now. It's so good. Guys, make sure you check the description because I'm gonna have links to all the products I use to make my desk. Yo, working from home is the best, but it really starts to suck when your table is a mess. That's why I customize. all of the things that I despise, and then I film it and I show it to you so you can like it and subscribe too. Yo, this is a shout out to coronavirus for keeping me at home so I can make videos like this. Yo, stay healthy and check my description for links. Peace!